The biggest mistake that I see done with combat athletes of any level is not periodizing your work week. And that'll lead to more injuries, that'll lead to less adaptations, and that'll just lead to worse performances in general. So what do I mean by periodizing the work week? Well, if we look at this graph, right, this is gonna have two different curves on there. We're gonna have the blue, which is our ideal combat athlete, and then we're gonna have the brown or the tan, that's going to be a typical combat athlete. Let's start with a typical combat athlete. Typically, an athlete likes to rev their engine at a relatively high rate because that feels good. That's what we like to do. But if we're always going between a 7 to an 8 to a 7 to a 10 to a 9 to a 10 to a 0, that doesn't give us any time to adapt. That doesn't give us any recovery time, or what the PI calls windows of recoverability, to allow us to dig out of the hole that we just made. If we think about training in a simple analogy of we're digging a hole, every time you work out hard, you're just digging a deeper hole. The whole point is that we're filling in the hole higher and higher and higher. We're putting more material into the hole to start making a mountain. If all I do is dig, I can never make the mountain. I can never get to the peak, right? So what we want to do is we want to give ourselves more time to recover, which is going to be the blue athlete. When we look at an ideal workload, this is called a high-low method. We have a low day, which is going to be our Monday. Then we go up to an intense day, which is going to be a 9 out of 10. Then we bring it down to a low, bring it up to a high, bring it down to a low. Whoa, Friday or Saturday sparring, all the way up at a 10, and then we bring it down low again. By decreasing the intensity and the volume on every other day, that allows us to start to fill in that hole with more material. It allows us to start building that mountain even higher, which is going to increase performance, decrease injury risk, and allow you to feel better when you're training. Now, like I said, this works for combat athletes of any level, right? Even if you're a recreational athlete, we need to start periodizing. We need to start thinking more in a waveform pattern or a high-low instead of just a rev the engine at a 7 and above, which is what most combat athletes do, which is what leads you guys to come into my room and make me have to work on you and get injured, instead of focusing on the performance benefits of allowing more windows of recovery. So, periodize your work week, try to get better at that, and I promise you it's going to pay off in the long run.